Hello viewers, welcome to our today lecture. In our today lecture, we are going to discuss that what are the different types of data. We will discuss about qualitative data, quantitative data, primary data, secondary data, time series data, panel data and cross-sectional data. So now let's discuss each of them one by one. First of all, we will discuss about that what is mean by qualitative data. Qualitative data represent some characteristics or attributes. They depict descriptions that may be observed but cannot be computed or calculated. For example, data on attributes such as intelligence, honesty, and wisdom. So basically, qualitative data is based on some characteristics of any person or anything. Like if you want to compare that how much a person A is white to person B, you cannot compare them numerically. So you are comparing them on the basis of their face color, or when you are talking about some person's eye color. So it means that you are considering them on the basis of some kind of attributes. Like in this slide, as there are examples of honesty or wisdom, you cannot measure that how much a person is honest, intelligent, or wise as compared to the other person. As because they are attributes, they are characteristics. So qualitative data is a data which cannot be measured numerically. That data is called qualitative data, that is totally based on some kind of quality in any person or in anything. So the next type of data is quantitative data. Quantitative data, these can be measured and not simply observed. They can be numerically represented and calculation can be performed on them. For example, data on the number of students playing different sports from your class gives an estimate of how many of the total students play which sport. This information is numerical and can be classified as quantitative data, as it can be seen by its name quantity, quantitative, quantity. So it means that you can verify the number in this type of data, that how many persons are working in a bank. We can give numeric numbers. How many students are studying in this year? We can calculate them numerically. We can give them numbers. So these types of data are quantitative data or numerical data. We can assign numbers to them. So this type of data is called quantitative data. The next type of data is called primary data. Primary data, these are the data that are collected for the first time by any investigator for a specific purpose. Primary data are pure in the sense that no statistical operations have been performed on them and they are original. An example of primary data is the census, or you can say that the census of population. Basically, the data which we are collecting for the first time by surveyors, by interviews, That type of data is called primary data. The first hand data, that is called primary data, which you are collecting by your own self. And secondary data, we can simply differentiate between primary and secondary data in a term that primary data is first hand and secondary second, as it can be seen by its name, secondary second time data, secondary, which is already published on any website, on any newspaper, in any journal. That type of data is called secondary data, which is gathered by some other persons, and now you are using that data for your own purposes. So that type of data is called secondary data. They are the data that are sourced from some place that has originally collected it. This means that this kind of a data has already been collected by some researchers or investigators in the past and is available either in published or unpublished form. This information is impure as statistical operation may have been performed on them already. An example in information available on the World Bank, the Department of Finance, websites, or in other repositories, books, journal. So the data which is already being published, that type of data is called secondary data. So now let's moving on to the other type of data, that is called time series data. The data which varies with the time. In time series data, there are multiple variables of a single country, of a single firm, of a single college, of a single university with multiple years. That data which is given above for Pakistan with multiple years and with different variables. As you can see in this table, there are multiple years and multiple variables, but there is only one country. Okay, so when we are discussing about the data of one country with multiple years and with multiple variables, that type of data is called time series data. It is not necessary that it always consists of country. It might be possible that data consists of one college, one university, or one industry, or one firm. But when we are discussing about only one firm's revenue, cost, expenditure, advertisement with different years, and for only one firm, then we are discussing about time series data. The next type of data is called cross-sectional data. In cross-sectional data, there is no change in time, but there are multiple countries or multiple firms, multiple schools, multiple educations, multiple, you know what, there are multiple institutions, multiple banks, but the year remains the same. As you can see that year remains the same and we have multiple countries with single variable. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. We have multiple countries but we have a only single year. So that type of data is cross-sectional data. And the next one is the panel data. Basically, panel data is the combination of time series and cross-sectional data. In this type of data, both countries and time varies. The data which is having multiple countries and multiple years with multiple variables. You know, there are multiple banks, their income, their expenditure, their savings, their credit amount, and with multiple years. When we are discussing about multiple variables with multiple years, so now we are discussing about panel data. So these are the major types of data. That is end for our today lecture.